A new era for the Chicago Bulls has started. They finally have found their young superstar. After having the hope of competitiveness back in 2021 with the DeMar DeRozan trade and the Nikola Vucevic trade, pairing them alongside Zach LaVine, who had just signed that new extension at the time. And while it was fun for a year or two, that first year leading them to the playoffs, that was their only playoff appearance together, and they only got one playoff game win out of it, and that was it for that big three in their entire time with each other, which was from 2021 to 2025, and the following was just mediocrity after mediocrity, and the Chicago Bulls front office was settling for that. They weren't making any big moves, they weren't really finding a direction, because they were just middle of the pack, 10th seed, 9th seed, stuff like that. That was just not doing it, and it just wasn't a good direction, because you never want to be middle of the pack mediocrity in the NBA, because you're not getting good draft picks and you're not being competitive enough to even make the playoffs. So after all the losing in the playoffs, missing the playoffs, and being middle of the pack, they finally were able to get rid of DeMar DeRozan and Zach LaVine last year, and then Nikola Vucevic earlier this year, fully embracing a direction finally, which is rebuilding and finding a youth movement, and they found it in this year's draft. Caleb Wilson has looked like a surefire superstar in the future during this summer league, averaging 24.3 points per game, 7 rebounds, 3.3 blocks, 1.3 assists, and 1.3 steals per game in the summer league so far, and his field goal percentage is looking like 60% from the field, 50% from 3, 23% from the free throw line. Honestly, I'm not too worried about that. It has felt like nobody can knock down free throws in the summer league. I don't know what's going on. I don't know if it's the new free throw rule or what, but no one's knocking down free throws, it seems. But Caleb Wilson, just true potential to be the best player in this class, and that's saying a lot with guys like AJ DeBonsa, Darren Pearson, and Cam Boozer in this class. He has sheer scoring talent, shooting ability. He's tall, long, his frame is at 6'9", he's an athletic freak, and he uses all those abilities for offense, yes, but for defense as well. He just has a very good ability to get to the ball, block shots, disrupt the offense, and just has elite athleticism, being able to pair that alongside his good defensive instincts, and that is just a two-way superstar in the making. And the Bulls got him at number 4. They didn't even have to be the most lucky team in the NBA to get number 1 or 2 or something like that. They got him at 4, and they have their future superstar with that. Caleb Wilson genuinely looks like he could easily be a top 5 player in this league in the future. Now, I'm taking Summer League with a grain of salt, of course, but Summer League is a good teller as well to see where these guys are with their skill level and how much they're able to use it so early on. And Caleb Wilson just uses his height, his shooting ability. He made, I think, 7 threes? His debut game alone was unbelievable. 35 points, 5 rebounds, 2 steals, 3 blocks, 7 threes, like I was alluding to. And those 7 threes were more than he had made his entire last year of college. That his scoring ability is going to be incredible. He can just shoot over the top of so many defenders, get to the rim with his athleticism, and once he's at the rim, he has so many different ways he can get the ball in the bucket. And like I was saying earlier, his defense can truly be next level, like all defensive level type of stuff, if he can commit to that side of the floor consistently. So Caleb Wilson, future superstar. I'm so in love with his game. He is so fun to watch. And this offseason for the Bulls as well, they were able to build around Caleb Wilson and Modest Buzelis. Let's not forget about their other high pick who was great last year. And they were able to build around those two by getting a guy like Nick Claxton for practically free in that 3-team Julius Randle deal. Claxton can come in and just be a big upgrade defensively, who they had previously with Nikola Vucevic, and he's just not he's not the greatest offensive player out there. He's not the offensive player that Nikola Vucevic was, but defensively, he is just a great paint defender. He's not going to be the best in the world, but he definitely is a paint presence out there defensively, and that is much more than what you had with Vucevic. And honestly, as with the center, when you have guys like Josh Giddey, another player I'll get to, Norman Powell later, Modest Buzelis, and Caleb Wilson, who are going to have the ball in their hands, shooting the ball and everything, you want a guy who can anchor the defense. He doesn't have to be the greatest offensive player, so I do really like that pickup for them a lot. And he last year with the Brooklyn Nets, he averaged 11 points per game, 6.9 rebounds, all around up 7 rebounds per game, 3.7 assists, shot 57% from the field, 1.8 blocks per game. just a really good solid season for Nick Claxton. And with this team, with guys that are much more talented than the Brooklyn Nets team he's had over the last couple years, he's going to have a change of scenery, and I think that could help him with motivation and just being able to buy into a team and buy into a system and stuff like that. So I love that pickup for the Chicago Bulls, upgrading defensively, getting Claxton. It's just a solid center who's also on a team-friendly deal, only 2 more seasons on his contract, about $20 million each year. Just a very solid deal and a very solid pickup for the Chicago Bulls. Then the Bulls also went out and got Norman Powell for an extra scoring punch at that 2-guard spot. They signed him to a 2-year, $45 million deal with a team option on that 2nd year. Just another friendly deal for them, team-friendly deal. Nothing that is going to punish you long-term or in your future that you're going to regret. Just a very good signing. A guy who was an all-star last year, paying him just a little over $20 million a year. A very good pickup for the Chicago Bulls to alleviate pressure from guys like Modest Buzelis and Caleb Wilson. Last year, Norman Powell averaged for the Miami Heat 21.7 points per game, 3.5 rebounds per game, 2.5 assists per game, 47% from the field, and the best part about his game, his 3-point shooting, 38% from 3 and 82% from the free throw line. Norman Powell can come in as a veteran presence with him in his 30s at this point, but also being able to relieve some pressure off of the other guys offensively and just be a scoring threat out there, because he'll alleviate pressure off of them, but also open up the court for them when they have the ball, because you do have to respect a guy like Norman Powell if he's sitting in the corner or on the wing or top of the key. You do have to respect his shooting, so that just naturally will open up the gate and open up the floor for a guy like Caleb Wilson to drive or Modest Buzelis to drive. It just opens up the court for them, and I just really do like this pickup. One of my favorite pickups by any team in this offseason so far. And when you do have a guy like Josh Giddey as well running the show as the lead guard, Norman Powell just fits in perfectly like a glove. Josh Giddey will find him so often with his playmaking ability. And you can also just give Norman Powell the ball. He's not just an off-ball type of guy. He made the All-Star team for a reason. He can go out and get a bucket with the ball off the dribble and stuff like that. So if late game, when you need a bucket or something like that, or when offenses can get stagnant, Norman Powell is a guy who can really help you with that. So the Bulls starting roster is looking like Josh Giddey, Norman Powell, Modest Buzelis, Caleb Wilson, and Nick Claxton. That is 3 new additions this year, and I do like every single one of them. Obviously, Norman Powell is going to be great. Obviously, Nick Claxton is going to be great. But Caleb Wilson is a star they were looking for. The beginning of the new Chicago Bulls era starts with him. And then that bench is also going to look like some Trey Jones, Rob Dillingham, Isaac Okoro, Patrick Williams, Jalen Smith, maybe some Zach Collins. The starting unit is really, really good. The bench is okay. I mean, the bench isn't going to be great or anything. I'm not expecting this team to just be top 6 seed this year or something like that. But it's what they have done to set up Caleb Wilson's career in the NBA, Modest Buzelis' next chapter of his career. I just loved what they have done. So yeah, this starting lineup is going to be very solid. Defensively, I like what Caleb Wilson can do, Modest Buzelis, Nick Claxton, of course. They're led by the playmaking of Josh Giddey. Their scoring might be a little bit inconsistent with guys that are so young having the ball as much as they will. But like I said earlier, Powell will help with that, especially with his great shooting ability. But this is exactly what you do if you are a team that is building around a young core like Modest Buzelis and Caleb Wilson. You just build a solid team around them. You don't want them experiencing low energy teams that are just losing and losing, especially when it's on purpose, or just like stuff like the Brooklyn Nets have been doing, the New Orleans Pelicans even. Just like stuff like that is just low mood, low energy. You want a guy like Caleb Wilson to come into a team that is ready to win. They do actually want to win, and they're not just tanking for a good draft pick. The Bulls also got Tiago Splitter this offseason, who was just the interim coach for the Trailblazers, who he just led to a playoff series against the Spurs, and that team was a very young team, and they were able to take a game from them. And I liked what Tiago Splitter did with the Trailblazers. Maybe he wasn't the most well orchestrated play drawer or anything like that. He wasn't Greg Popovich, he wasn't Eric Spoelstra or anything like that out there. But I did like what he was able to do with the group of guys he was given, in the circumstances he was given as well, with the whole Chauncey Billups thing. So I do like them getting Tiago Splitter, taking a shot on him, who was just good with a young team. Bring him to another young team and see what he can do with this. And I know with this team, like I said earlier, they are not going to be great. They're not going to be the greatest team in the world, but what I do think they will be is fun, and I think they will be very good at developing the young guys with them having an actual solid group around the young guys. And coming into this year, I do expect them to be in that playing game or fighting for it, like very strong for it. And I do think in the coming seasons, this team will be making the playoffs consistently with Modest Buzelis and Caleb Wilson just developing year after year after year. So that does it from me. I wanted to cover the Chicago Bulls today and just say how much of a great job they have done within last year and this year with building a young team, actually picking a direction to go on, and so far they have started off great. This is why I wanted them to do it a couple of years ago, trading DeRozan and Levine instead of just last year, but who am I? They started right now, and they started off really good because they picked the right draft to go into and pick their future guy, and they got their future guy with Caleb Wilson. So the new era of the Bulls has begun, led by the young core of Wilson and Buzelis. I cannot wait to see where they go from here on. If you're a Chicago Bulls fan, let me know in the comments below what you think of what this team can do this year and the following years after, and what you think of the signings, the draft. I know Dalen Swain hasn't been the greatest. He has been very bad so far, but he's still young. You still got a guy like Caleb Wilson, so you can't be mad. So let me know what y'all think about the draft, the signings, and everything. If you guys like this video, hit the like button down below, subscribe button, notification bell so you can be notified as soon as I upload, and I hope to see you guys in the next one. Peace out.